Not gonna lie, yeah, I'm after tall figures. I don't even wanna be involved with you the way I am because I want it all.
What up, though? Let's talk about NXT, January 17th, 2023. All right, so there's two notes. I'm actually going to push them to near the end of the show. One was, of course, the Amari Miller story where she apparently attempted suicide last week. And the second is going to be about the indie shows leaving Peacock. So I'll actually talk about those near the end of the show. So we'll get right into NXT. Match 1. Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes are defeated by Axiom and Apollo Crews. Good old 50-50 booking. So Apollo Crews pins Carmelo Hayes as Carmelo Hayes tries to do one of the little lucha victory rolls and is countered. Later, Apollo Crews will go and sort of gloat in the face of Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes about his victory. Just kind of ruffling their feathers a little bit. I don't like this 50-50 booking. I don't like it. And I certainly don't like that Carmelo Hayes is now starting to take more losses than he ever took before. I mean, Apollo Crews is a guy who could barely beat Grayson Waller. He's falling off a cliff. We should just have Carmelo Hayes beat this guy. But I don't know, man. Obviously, they're setting up, another singles match between these two fellas. And look, they work together great. There's nothing wrong with the matches. There's everything wrong with the character stuff. One of it being that Apollo Crews does not have one. He just simply does not really have a character. There's no real reason for Apollo Crews to be there. His title aspirations are done. So what is he still hanging around for? I don't know. That's a difficult situation. Axiom is just like a hanger-on, He doesn't really matter this much. I know that he's supposed to be in a storyline with Trick Williams, but is that really a storyline? I don't know. I don't know, and I really don't care. I just don't like the 50-50 booking. So there it goes. But the match was solid enough. Tony D'Angelo takes Stacks to the bridge. The bridge that they threw 2 dimes off of. I thought, oh my goodness, they're about to throw Stacks off this bridge. So Tony D'Angelo tells Stacks that he proved himself, but the Dijak thing didn't end the way that he wanted. Stacks said that he'll do anything for Tony D'Angelo, but he understands that Tony's got to do what he's got to do. And he kind of stands on the edge of the bridge, expecting to be thrown off. But instead, Tony D'Angelo makes him an underboss and gives him the family crest, which looks like in the old Dipset album cover. And said that he can wear it. So now Stacks is an underboss, despite the fact that he screwed up and in the most major disturbing way and cost Tony D'Angelo a championship match, I should say. I don't know. I guess it was good loyalty, but he still cost you the match. It's kind of dumb. Kind of dumb, Tony D. But I guess it's a babyface turn for these two guys where, they're going to, go for the tag team titles. I'm okay with that. Tony D'Angelo has to win something, for Christ's sake. He's been consistently one of the most over guys that since he came in. So he needs to have some kind of belt or championship or something. I mean, for Christ's sake, it's kind of beyond time for Tony D'Angelo to actually win something, to actually get over and win something. All right, Tiffany Stratton, she's backstage. There was footage that Tiffany Stratton was locked out of her private locker room by Indy Hartwell, who said that she did not deserve such a luxurious locker room, then took her nameplate off and tossed it, and then put NXT women's locker room on it. So Indy Hartwell basically commandeered Tiffany Stratton's locker room, and it's supposed to be the baby face. Tiffany Stratton said there's only one superstar in the division, it's her. Pretty random, to kick the girl out of her own locker room, but I mean, it is what it is. But Indy Hartwell's still hanging around there, man. Man, she's like cobwebs at this point in NXT. Notice that some people that I've said got to get out of NXT, they've been missing for a while. Cameron Grimes is one of them. Where the hell did he go? Indy Hartwell should be put on the milk carton. Lex, she's been around for too damn long. It's time for her to go disappear. We got a Stevie Turner vignette where she gave her reaction to the Battle Royal. And of course said that she would have won if she was there. This was pretty pedestrian. I don't understand this character. Like, I get it. I get that what the character is. I just don't understand how the character is going to transition to having matches. You know, right now she's doing reply guy stuff to, you know, stuff that she saw on the previous show or whatever. And, okay, you're doing reaction videos, but you could start up a feud with somebody. You know, it would have been nice if she'd have targeted somebody in the match and kind of, you know, roasted them or something like that and gave somebody a reason to call her out or something, you know, instead of just sort of generic, this is what happened in the Battle Royal. And, you know, this is what these people should have done differently. It made it seem like she was on commentary, you know, and I don't know about that. I don't know if I like that. All right. So we got Toxic Attraction. They came out gloated. This was awkward. This was very awkward. All of this was very awkward because JC and Gigi they're just not good on the mic. All right. They've been around long enough and they've had, I think, enough practice that they should be better than this, but they are not good. They are not good. Anyway, they celebrated that they won together. So there's no animosity between them because they're a team. They do everything together. And that they're going to make Roxanne rule the day. She decided to come after Toxic Attraction. This led to Lyra Valkyria coming out there who blamed Cora Jade for her not winning and said that she doesn't see a champion when she looks at either one of them. And then they said they're going to teach her who runs the show. And they jumped her. This led to Roxanne Perez coming out there to make the save. And the tag team main event was set for later tonight. Lyra Valkyria and Roxanne Perez, none of these people can cut promo. None of them. All of them sound like they're just in a really bad play. They sound like they're in a really bad play. JC Jane has the most enthusiasm out of anybody here. She seems to have the most character, but she still sounds kind of stilted. Gigi just sounds, my God, she sounds like she's on lithium. Like, I don't get it. She is an awful promo. Something's got to shake where, you know, I don't know what Sean has to do, but he's got to do something with these girls where he's got to be like, look, we're putting you on live television with microphones. All you got to do is get over the idea, you know, just go talk like you're talking to your friends. Do you talk to your friends like this? Like, you know, like this is awful high school musical stuff. Please get it together. And Lyra Valkyria, this is the first time I ever heard her voice outside of a promo. I don't remember her talking that much in NXT UK. It's very unfortunate that she's not very good either. We know Roxanne Perez isn't very good. I was just like, oh my God, this is so much bad promo work right here. It's awful promo work. What the fuck? What are they teaching down there at the Performance Center? Like, look, these people can work, but my God, they can't talk for shit. Please do something about this. Please. It's bad. It's really, really bad. All right, later we get more bad promos because now Roxanne Perez is talking. Goodness gracious. Roxanne Perez says that Toxic Attraction has been making her life hell since she started, and she doesn't want that to happen to Lyra Valkyria. And then they're interrupted by Big Body Javi, who wants to play a song but nobody wants to hear it. But he definitely saved this segment, popping up with a guitar pretty randomly. I thought that was very fun of him. Thank you very much, Javier Bernal. You are a gentleman for saving us from these very bad promos. So then we get to the match. Toxic Attraction versus Lyra Valkyria and Roxanne Perez. So the match itself, fine. We were in a no-win situation here. Lyra Valkyria is a person that they've really been protecting ever since the NXT UK days, so she shouldn't be losing. Roxanne Perez is the champion. She shouldn't be losing. Toxic Attraction is 2-3-time tag team champions, and they're the number one contenders for the women's title. They really shouldn't be losing either. We really should have just had the argument, and then maybe one of them fights Lyra Valkyria, and then the other one is on the outside of the ring, which I think probably would have been better. Again, they do stuff that doesn't make much sense. Anyway, Cora Jade pushes Lyra Valkyria off the top rope. This left to Lyra Valkyria chasing Cora Jade off into the darkness, leaving Roxanne Perez by herself. Then JC and Gigi are working together. They're going to do a spin kick on Roxanne Perez. JC does the spin kick. She misses. She kicks Gigi instead. Then she bumps JC out of the way, ends up pinning Gigi with her finisher, the Hot Rocks, which is basically a sunset flip. And you had the 2-3-time tag team champions, number one contenders, beat by Roxanne Perez, who essentially won the match by herself. Again, they don't get it. The most important thing is heat. The most important thing is heat. If anything, should have just been a disqualification and should have had this match earlier. It gave it a DQ. It should have had a one-on-one match where Cora Jade pushes Lyra Valkyria off the top rope, and then the three of them jump these two, and they all just get heat on them. To me, that makes a lot more sense than what they did. Heat is definitely missing in a lot of storylines, and especially in WWE. This is one of those storylines where there's so much heat missing because the girls are not really good at talking. And, Roxanne is very good at being a babyface, and so is Lyra. So they good at firing up, but you have to give them, opposition. You have to apply pressure for them to fight back from it. If you just have them constantly fucking losing, and then, or there's the miscommunication is happening already, like we already know how this triple threat match is going to go. There's going to be some miscommunication, and Roxanne Perez is going to take advantage of it. So why are we doing that already? So I guess we're just going to break them up, which is fine, but we probably should have just had a solo match then, so the other one could be jealous or upset or getting in the way or something like that, which would have broke them up, rather than a goddamn triple threat match. But whatever. It's just bad situation all the way around. I'm not really a big fan of what they've been doing with Toxic Attraction the last 2 weeks. And I'm not really a big fan of their performance either. Toxic Attraction. It's crazy how much, Mandy is missed. Hey, honey. Anyway, okay. So Lyra Valkyria and Cora Jade, that's good. I don't mind that. Cora Jade at least isn't as, cringe on the mic as the rest of these girls. But these chicks are cringe. And part of the reason why they're still so cringe is because they haven't been forced to talk. They've been, pretty much playing the background when it comes to Mandy. But somebody needs to get put under the hot lights and made to get better. So they're going to start teasing dissension between these two girls. I'm guessing that JC's probably going to end up being the one because, again, she has the most enthusiasm. I don't know. Gigi just comes across like she's medicated sometimes, and I don't get it. I don't know where that comes from, but she definitely needs like rehab. So I don't know what's going on with her. And I don't mean rehab like she needs to go to a drug treatment center or something like that. I mean she needs to be rehabilitated. Like maybe she needs to get injured and written off and then come back as something else. Because this entire Toxic Attraction run, Gigi has just sleepwalked through the entire thing. She hasn't done anything of note. She hasn't said anything of note. She hasn't stood out at all outside of having bright orange hair, which when she goes to the main roster, she's not going to stand out because also Becky Lynch has bright orange hair. So you're in this situation where this chick just doesn't stand out at all, and she hasn't done anything remarkable at all. And now, the shade that was kind of covering that has been removed. And now you're kind of exposing both of them, but now you're really exposing how lackluster Gigi has been. And she's got a lot of experience. I'm pretty sure I've heard of Tampon Girl Priscilla Kelly going back to 2015 or something like that, maybe 2016. So she's been around for a long time. And she's been on NXT for 2 years. And she hasn't gotten much better. So something tells me she maybe just don't feel comfortable with the character or something. Maybe she just needs to be rehabbed. I don't know. But I'm really, really disappointed in Gigi. She's not good. Her promos are not good. Her matches are okay. But they're not, to the level of other women who have similar or even less experience. And I think maybe it's because she's been in this tag team for 2 years. I don't know. I'm just trying to throw her some bail. But JC at least doesn't have that much experience where you can just chalk it up to, she's not that experienced. But Gigi, for fuck's sake, she was a big star on the Indies. As far as I knew, people was talking about how great she was. Now you get her in NXT and you get her even with some time and a push. It's just still, you're not seeing the outcomes. You're not seeing it. I don't know. She need to get it together. All right, let's move on. Enough browbeating, Gigi. So Julius and Brutus Creed are arguing like children, and literally about who's going to fight Jinder Mahal next. Brutus, which is the chubbier one, he even runs to tell Ivy, "It's my turn." And I'm like, what? What on earth? Why would you have this full-grown man who we think he's a human bulldozer? He's like, "Ivy, it's my turn to fight Jinder Mahal, and Julius won't let me." And she's like a mother hen, like, stop this. And I'm just kind of like, well, everybody agrees with this. Like, stop being bitches. Stop whining like children. But she questioned their discipline, saying they should be after championships, not petty revenge. She said she knew that they were going to lose to Jinder Mahal. She knew they were going to lose to Indus Sher. She knew he was going to lose to Jinder Mahal. And she told them both to grow a set. And I was like, holy shit. Now, wait a minute. Wait a minute. I like Ivy Nile as much as, more than most people. I think she has something. I was particularly very impressed with her match with Meiko Satomura on NXT UK. But she hasn't accomplished a damn thing. For her to be, grabbing these dudes by the nuts like this and going after, she ain't accomplished shit. She ain't won no titles and no title matches or even got a title match. I don't know. Like, I like the idea that she's pushing discipline on them and telling them that they're unfocused. But she told them, like, I knew you were going to lose. I'm like, whoa, that's not something you say to friends. But it's also it could also be a brutally honest thing, I guess. Friends could tell friends, like, hey, I know you off balance, you off focus, you're going to fuck this up. So that might be passable. But telling them to grow a set, I'm like, wait a minute now. Wait a minute. But ultimately, I did like this segment. I didn't like the characterization of the Creed brothers here. I thought it was a little off, but ultimately, I like it. She's trying to get these boys back focused. She's trying to motivate them. I wish they would do something with her, though. Like, she needs to be doing something. Anyway, Alba Fire is defeated by Sol Ruka. Hey, Sol Ruka was on this show. Sol Ruka won a match, but they didn't really let her get too much offense in because Alba Fire was really just kicking her ass. Isla Dawn was on the balcony watching, cackling and pointing and doing all the creepy stuff. Alba Fire sees that and is distracted by Isla Dawn being up there. When she turns around, Sol Ruka does her finisher, the Soul Snatcher, and actually wins the match. At this point, Isla Dawn is pointing and laughing because Alba Fire lost. So Sol Ruka won a match while doing as little as possible. I don't understand why she wrestles. They give her matches on Level Up where she's actually doing stuff. And then she gets on NXT TV and they just snatch all of that away. Don't do anything. Just sell while Alba Fire beats your ass. Which is fine because, again, we're telling a story here with Alba Fire. She's frustrated. At the same time, though, it would be nice if we could see more of what Sol Ruka could do. And it would also be great if she cut a promo and she could talk. That would be good too. Her talking about this big win would be nice. There's just so much stuff that I think they're missing out on when it comes to Sol Ruka. That being said, Alba Fire, she's frustrated. So she's applying pressure to the referee backstage about losing. KC Squared, which is Casey Catanzaro and Kaden Carter, they pull her off the referee and say, hey, look, you just got to be patient. And then they ask her, like, what's the big deal? And Alba Fire's like, I can't beat champions. I can't beat rookies. What the hell is going on? I'm confused. I'm frustrated. So they start going in there talking about themselves, like, we couldn't win matches before, but we pushed through it. And now look at us. We're the tag team champions. Nobody can beat us. And she's like, what? This ain't about you. So then she started saying that maybe I should challenge you then. Maybe I should challenge you too and become the NXT Women's Tag Team Champion. And they're like, you don't even have a partner. I don't need anybody. And I'm just like, oh. They're just going to have Alba Fire lose to everybody. And then she's going to get to go to SmackDown or something. You know? She's got to lose to everybody first, though. I think a nice little twist would be for Isla Dawn to be Alba Fire's partner. That would be an interesting twist. And I think that's where we're going with this. Because who the fuck else could it be? Alba Fire doesn't have any friends on the roster. So my guess is that she's probably going to volunteer to fight the match by herself. Halfway through the match, Isla Dawn is going to appear. And Isla Dawn and Alba Fire are either going to win or turn on each other. It would be a motherfucker if they won. That would be a bitch. Especially considering it would be a thrown together tag team while you have other female tag teams like Ivy Nile and Tatum Paxley who probably could use that run. And could use a storyline if we're being honest. But I'm okay with this because I don't think Alba Fire will be in NXT much longer. At least I don't think so. I think that she's going to get, pushed over to SmackDown, I'm pretty sure. And I'm pretty sure it's going to be SmackDown, not Raw. So, at least they're doing something with her. At least she's visible. They're doing stuff. All right, another bad promo shows up on this show. This is a night of terrible promos. Donovan Dijakovic, a.k.a. Dijak, Boss Man Dijak. And he just cuts so many criminal justice puns. This is the worst thing about WWF character work. It is the worst. Not just sometimes how terrible the costumes are. The worst is the puns. He's talking about dishing out street justice to Tony D'Angelo and Stacks. Okay, fine. You're talking about street justice. Then she said he came to NXT to collect damages. And I'm just kind of like, okay. And that's when he's going to challenge Wes Lee. And then he starts doing some more puns. I'm just kind of like, oh no. It's just constant with the criminal justice puns. These shits is awful, man. This is awful. This is all bad. Look, I really don't like this guy, but WWE forcing guys to do these character-based puns where they just basically just use references to whatever career that they have. It's so dumb. It's so dumb. And he shouldn't be talking like this. Why can't he talk normal? Just talk like a normal fucking guy. It's all, Wesley, I sentence you to hard time. And you get behind those bars and they shut. You're going to be shackled to failure. It's like, oh, okay, we get it. Bars, shackles, sentencing, I get it. Criminal justice, I get it. It's like, you don't need to do that. Just let him cut a promo like a regular fucking guy. Please. Pretty please. Just, you're embarrassing yourself at this point. You're embarrassing this guy. He's bad enough as it is. He don't need no help. All right? He don't need help to suck. He need help to get better. I think he's basically the only person who talks like this. I think him and Tony D'Angelo both talk like this. Because Tony D'Angelo always making mafia references, but at least it fits the character and it's not off-putting. Like when he's talking about somebody sleeping with the fishes, it was done in an appropriate time. It wasn't like he says that shit all the time, But this was a promo full of criminal justice puns, and it gave me a headache. And it wasn't, big boss man, wacky promo fun. It was boring, dry cracker Dijak. And I was like, get him out of here, man. All right, so we got to sit down from Grayson Waller. This was fun. Grayson Waller said he was supposed to save NXT, but Braun Breaker couldn't beat him. He had to lose due to things that were beyond his control. Because the ring crew couldn't do their job, he couldn't do his job. And said that he doesn't plan to escape the cage. He plans to pin Braun Breaker in the middle of the ring, even though he's not sure how. Doesn't matter how he does it, he plans to do it. I'm like, okay. I don't like Grayson Waller. Now he's starting to walk around with the NXT title, a replica belt, because he feels like he's the uncrowned champion because he had Braun Breaker beat until the top rope and until the middle rope broke. That's a good reason to carry around a replica belt. I'm not gonna lie to you. I would probably carry around a replica belt too if I got jobbed out of a title, that I probably would have won if it wasn't for things that, are outside of my control. All right. So we got Briggs and Jensen versus Gallus. The match itself was, I don't like Briggs and Jensen, so I'm not even going to hold you up. They changed Gallus' theme song, which I'm always shaking my head because they continuously change theme songs. It's so frustrating. And you know what? Somebody mentioned it earlier. I think I saw it. I don't know if it was on YouTube or Twitter. That has become the most frustrating thing about the Royal Rumble, that because they change people's theme songs so much, you have no earthly idea who the fuck is coming out. And I agree. It's really affecting the crowd reaction when it comes to saves, people making returns, stuff like that. It's awful. And it's been going on for 2 or 3 years. This constant churn of theme songs that they just keep changing them. I get it that, they had CFO, and then, the contract with them ended or whatever. And now they want to convert all of those to, what was it? I think it's Def Rebel, I think it is, that they have now. I get it. But then you should have just done them all at one time and then said, we're not changing them, or recreated versions of them. But they have changed every single person's theme song to the point where you watch Raw or SmackDown, you have no fucking idea who's coming out. Like, I forgot they changed Rhea Ripley's theme. Like, you go through all the trouble of getting her this really cool theme, and then you bastardize it, because now there's some kind of creepy Judgment Day version of it. And it's like, fuck, just go back to the other version. Like, just pay for the fucking song. You already own it. Just go back and whatever. It's frustrating. It's stupid. Anyway, Gallus pulls up the mat at one point, and then they backdrop Jensen on it. This led to a medical team coming out there to help him. Fallon Henley was at his side while he was out there laying around because, he was all right. Briggs got pinned. So Gallus wins. Nobody's really too concerned about that, though. Kiana James ran down to ringside and actually shoved Fallon Henley out of the way so she can check on Brooks Jensen. And it was cute. I will say that. It was pretty cute. Later, Fallon Henley is in the training room with Jensen. Jensen is still, talking to the trainers about his back and everything, how his kidneys might be, dislocated or whatever. And Fallon Henley comes in there and is absolutely giving him the flux about Kiana James. She thinks that Kiana James is using him. And he's like, using me for what? Like, you own the bar. What is she going to use me for? I don't have anything. And he's like, she genuinely likes me. And Fallon Henley's like, no, she don't. And when she breaks your heart, don't come crying to me. And she's storming off. And I was just kind of like, jealous. You're jealous. Look at you. You're jealous. Look I see it in your eyes. The lust in your eyes. I see it. Later, she apologized for going off the reservation and said that she's going to try to make it work only for Jensen. Wink, wink. She's going to try to make this thing work. And she asked for a tag team match next week. And her partner will be ... Kiana James. So Jensen is very excited because his 2 favorite girls are going to team up finally. And Briggs is he's a third wheel. Who cares about that guy? So they've been building up this whole Fallon Henley, Brooks Jensen thing for a while. The whole will they, won't they kind of idea. Where, he kind of had a crush on her. She had a crush on him. But now he's distracted by this beautiful, rich chick who, doesn't really like Fallon Henley. And now we're complicating the relationship a little bit. All right. It's drama. It's teen drama, but okay. It's something. It's interesting. I don't know why it features 2 of the most uninteresting guys, I should say, on the roster, but at least they're doing something, right? At least they're doing something. Thea Hale is backstage. She's super excited. She's bouncing around. She's got a ton of energy. Duke Hudson's trying to coach her, kind of. When Andre Chase marches in to show a video with terrible audio, it just had awful audio. I couldn't hear nothing that Duke Hudson was saying. But apparently he was down talking Andre Chase's teaching methods. So Andre Chase got in his face about it. And he was like, oh, no, we should be focusing on Thea Hale. She's got an important match tonight. And Andre Chase was kind of like, yeah, you're right. It is an important match for her tonight. And they basically turned their attention to Thea Hale. So Thea Hale is wrestling Valentina Feroz. And they actually had a decent little match here. Elektra Lopez comes out to watch Valentina Feroz, or Feroz. I don't know how you pronounce her name. I'm not sure. Anyway, when she's given the opportunity and Valentina's in trouble, Elektra Lopez actually puts brass knuckles on Valentina's hands. Valentina sees this and throws the brass knuckles, which is, of course, a distraction. And Thea Hale hits her finisher to win. So Thea Hale has won her first match on NXT. And, she might as well be champion of the goddamn world, because they're carrying her around on their shoulders. Very excited that she finally won a match. They're going to have a celebration next week. What was it? An award celebration for her first win. It's real over the top. Super over the top. I like it. It's so over the top. I like it. All right. So Elektra Lopez and Valentina Feroz, I think. I don't know how you pronounce this girl's name. I'm going to keep saying it both ways until I figure it out. Valentina's backstage. She's kind of frustrated. Elektra Lopez comes up and says, why did you get rid of the brass knuckles? So Valentina says she doesn't cheat. She's not a cheater. She's not like Elektra, and she's not like Sanga. So Elektra Lopez says that she wants her to do whatever it takes to get to the top. And she needs to stop worrying about Sanga. She needs to stand on her own 2 feet. She used to follow in behind men too, but she stopped because she wanted to stand on her own. And she says, hey, you want to know about how successful I can be on my own, doing things my way? Watch my match next week. And she said she was wrestling the Pajama Girl. And I was like, that shit gave me indigestion. Because I got to watch Pajama Girl next week. And I'm not happy about that. But I do like this. I like that Elektra Lopez is trying to corrupt Valentina. Valentina is one of these people. She's been around for a little while. I think about maybe 2 years. I think she signed during the pandemic. She has probably been TV ready for a little while now, except for the language barrier. But Valentina and Elektra being partners, I like it. Valentina's regular partner, Yulisa Leon, is injured. So, putting her in a different tag team, turning her heel, we might be able to get something out of Valentina. It should be nice. Her and Yulisa were a very fluid, quick, agile tag team. I like them. So maybe Valentina and Elektra Lopez as a sort of power and speed team might work out. And I like that too. So we're going to have to watch Elektra Lopez, corrupt Valentina Feroz. So that'll be nice. New Day was out there claiming that they're done with Pretty Deadly, but Pretty Deadly wasn't done with them. Pretty Deadly came out there, complained, said they were the number one contenders, and it was a miscarriage of justice. Gallus came out, and the accents, oh my God. Look, I understood them, but the accents, my Jesus. NXT UK has really... it seems like half the roster is going to have a weird accent now. Like it's bad enough Raw has the goddamn Irishman on there, and he's, oi, in Monday Night Raw. And now we got, a bunch of Scottish and Welsh motherfuckers and stuff like that on NXT. And like half of them don't know how to pronounce anything. Anyway, Gallus is telling Pretty Deadly they don't deserve an opportunity and that they will be fighting New Day. And they're going to, quote, turn up, kick off, and ruin everybody's good time. And I was like, New Day made a joke that nobody understood Gallus, and then there was a brawl. So now they're going to make this match a triple threat match too. So now the Vengeance Day Tag Team Championship match is the New Day versus Pretty Deadly versus Gallus. Great. Just great. What was the point of the goddamn gauntlet? What was the point of the gauntlet if Pretty Deadly is going to get a title shot anyway? What was the point of Gallus winning the gauntlet if they have to share their title shot with the people they already beat? What is the point? What was the point of the gauntlet? Please help me out here. I'm drowning. I'm drowning in things that don't make sense. Why is this happening? I hate triple threat matches. What the fuck? We sat here and went through this whole goddamn gauntlet so that we can have number one contenders. Pretty Deadly lost. I love them, but they lost. They should be out of the picture. Get out. They lost. Dumb. Absolutely dumb. Kudos to NXT for acknowledging the death of Jay Briscoe. I thought that was very nice, especially considering he never worked in WWE before. So, it was, week 2 of NXT going on in the air and things immediately sort of overshadowing their show. Last week, it was Vince McMahon's triumphant return. This week, it's Jay Briscoe. So, I feel terrible about Jay Briscoe, but I'll talk about it some other time. All right. Brian Breaker, he did a backstage promo where he says he wants to wash out the bad taste of his mouth of not being able to beat Grayson Waller. And even though he won the match, he got no satisfaction because he didn't get to prove that he was better. Then he said that Grayson Waller is all trash talk and his mind games won't work. That Grayson Waller is the Chael Sonnen of WWE. He talks a lot of trash, but loses every title shot he's going to be in. And I was like, wait a minute. No need to attack Uncle Chael on this. There's no need to attack Uncle Chael on this. There's no need to do that. I know Chael Sonnen out here catching strays. I'm pretty sure he don't like that too much, getting name dropped on NXT. I give Chael Sonnen some credit. He's like one of the he's quite a few MMA fighters who actually likes wrestling. So, it ought to be interesting to see if he responds or not. Maybe we can get a Chael Sonnen cameo on NXT. Wouldn't that be great? Wouldn't it be great if Uncle Chael popped up on NXT to fight Braun Breaker for trash talking him? That would be fun. I don't know if Chael Sonnen's done pro wrestling before though. Has he? I don't know. I have to look that up. Anyway, it was interesting. It was nice. Fine. Whatever. The 5th match, Javier Bernal is defeated by Tyler Bate. Tyler Bate, who they did not do a good job of building up. They just shows like random vignettes. He talked, but didn't have much to say, didn't have much of a character. They also changed his theme too. His theme has also changed. The segment started with Javier Bernal wanting to play a concert. So he's basically Elias now. He's talking about Feliz Navidad being a top 40 album, and he's going to play one of his hits on the guitar. For starters, this is even funnier because Javier Bernal clearly cannot play the guitar. He's not good. So he's fully delusional, whereas Elias was actually good on the guitar, which is what's supposed to surprise everybody, is that he's actually talented. He's just cocky. Javier Bernal is just fucking delusional. Like, clearly he doesn't even know what this thing is he has in his hand. Anyway, they wrestled the match, and Javier Bernal loses. So Tyler Bate won the match. Yay, everybody. I don't know. Tyler Bate is a guy that I liked a lot more when he first came in. Now that I've watched him enough in NXT UK and stuff like that, it's kind of like shrug. I don't see, he can't really carry a week-to-week program or anything like that. And, Sean's booking of NXT UK was so much better than his booking of NXT. Mainly, he had the Midas touch in NXT UK. Didn't really have much going on in NXT right now. Especially look at these lazy ass triple threat matches that he decided to do. I'm not a big fan of these. But it bleeds over nicely to our first note of the night, which is that a lot of the European independent wrestling promotions, like, apparently they will be getting removed from Peacock. Now, I don't know the particulars, at least not at this point in time. Maybe if I look it up, I'll be able to find it. I don't know if this is material that WWE purchased and they're just taking it down, which wouldn't make much sense. Or if this is leased material that they have been paying these organizations for, and now those leases are coming up. The second part seems like that is more likely to be what's occurring. Now, that means that, if you've been watching WXW, Progress, ICW, those things are going to be gone eventually, apparently. ICW, this is according to Sean Ross Sapp, so take it with a grain of salt. Apparently ICW's contract is coming up soon. And probably by the time this video comes up, they're going to be removing the ICW stuff from the network. That'll be interesting. We don't know what's going on or why. Apparently, I don't think this has anything to do with Vince, because again, it was under Vince when this deal was made to have all of these companies. But I'm thinking, if I had to push forward a guess as to why this is happening, I would say that the justification simply doesn't work. Basically, WWE is paying more money for these companies and they're not getting the return. People are not watching this stuff. I do watch Progress. I do watch WXW. I watch them off and on, though. I don't watch every Progress show, and then I don't watch every Progress show all the way through. I may see, if I know this guy, like I watched the one in Abu Dhabi. I watched that show because I wanted to see Big Damo. He wrestled some guy. I forget what his name is. But that match was very fucking good. I wanted to see Alexander Wolf, who wrestles as Axel Tischer in Progress. I like watching Cara Noir. I wasn't a big fan of when they dropped the Cara Noir character, but I like that. WWE has been very flexible with Progress. You know, for a little while, Progress had Jonathan Gresham as a world champion, and Jonathan Gresham could not appear on the network because he was signed to, I think, Ring of Honor at the time, or was it Impact? It was one of the two. And WWE apparently didn't get into it with their creative or anything like that, because they just didn't show Gresham's match. They basically just cut it off the network feed. So I'm guessing these are loaned and licensed matches, because WXW has their own site, you know, their own streaming service, I think. And I think the same can be said for ICW, and I think the same for Progress. I think they all do. But of course, there's a lot of wrestling fans, especially the Brit wrestling fans, who are talking about, you know, all these guys sold their souls and all these companies are going to die because of, you know, these performers. And it's like, well, we could say that. I mean, these guys are acting like nothing happened between the startup of NXT UK and today. Nothing else occurred in the entire world. It's like there was the pandemic. A lot of people lost money during the pandemic. You know, that was a devastating time. Yes, WWE picked up a lot of the talent, sure, but the pandemic did a lot of damage. There was a speaking out, and everybody had to, you know, virtue signal about how they're not going to work with certain people anymore. The only people who really didn't lose their jobs are the people who work for WWE, and only with the allegations. There were some people like Ligero, like Gallagher, you know, those guys who are real assholes and went out there and admitted it. Those guys got fired. But some of the other people who may have gotten caught up in speaking out allegations, like Mr. Bobblehead, Jordan Devlin, he didn't get released. But yeah, WWE hired some of the best talent from Britain and Ireland and, you know, whatever. But that's what they do. You know, they treat everybody like a feeder system. I don't understand why British wrestling fans are surprised by this. Why would you want wrestlers to make less money? That's what I want to know. You claim you love these guys, but anytime they make a move to be more successful, you hate it. What the fuck is the point? What's the point in being a wrestler if you're going to be stuck on it, you know, stuck at wrestling in the same loop in Ireland for the rest of your fucking life? Like, come on, just be realistic here. And it's the same thing with these companies who made these licensing deals with WWE, which I'm guessing they're licensing deals. I'm pretty sure WWE didn't just buy them and then just decide to put them on the shelf. These fans, these Brit Rest fans, you know, they think that these companies are sellouts and all this kind of stuff. It's like, look, these are small promotions. They probably don't have the audience to support themselves by themselves. They need a little bit of help. There's nothing wrong with that. They were getting paid to provide talent to, not talent, but provide content to WWE. Why would you not do that? Especially if you still had control over your own creative, and you're not going to get closed or go out of business or whatever because they're not going to pay you anymore. Like, yeah, that influx of money won't be there anymore. That's going to suck. Absolutely, that's going to suck. So there's probably going to be some changes that need to be made, but it's not evolve. It's not like WWE can go in there and shut down Progress. It's not like they can go in there and shut down WXW. They can't do that. As far as I know, it was just, you provide us with your library, access to your library, up to a point, of course, and we give you X amount of dollars, and stuff like that. But if that deal becomes a deal that doesn't work for WWE anymore because maybe these shows aren't getting a lot of views, which we know for a fact that they don't because nobody fucking watches them and nobody talks about it. Hell, I watch some of this stuff and I don't even watch a lot of it. I just watch like, oh, this is interesting. I'll put it on for a little while I'm vacuuming or something like that. And if it's a match that I'm interested in, I'll sit down and watch it. If not, fuck it. Most people haven't even touched this stuff. They never even looked at it. They don't know what it is. And so they won't miss it. But there's a lot of European wrestling fans who are absolutely losing their minds right now, thinking that their favorite British wrestlers sold them out. And it's like, look, the thing about it is talent is limitless and it's also expansive. The idea that somebody can steal your talent, it'll take a while to replenish, sure. But you will replenish eventually, Guys, they come to a point and then they move on. That's like the NCAA complaining that the NBA keeps taking their talent. Well, the NCAA would be doing so much better if all those NBA teams didn't just show up and take all our goddamn talent. Look at how many fucking basketball or football programs in the NCAA would be absolutely fantastic. NCAA is a national collegiate athletic association or something like that. College teams. That, the NBA or the NFL picks up almost, picks and pokes out numerous players from the team who just won a championship. And now this team have a rebuilding year. They have to make new stars. They have to make new players because the bigger league with more money came in and took up some important pieces. WWE will do that. They're the big dog in the yard. If they want this guy or this guy or this guy, and that guy wants to make more money, then they will go sign with WWE and then you just have to replace them. That's the way business works. That's how business works. I'm sorry. I know that's, kryptonite to some British people or some European wrestling fans, but bro, that is how it works. Yes, a guy like Volta became a big star in Europe and then WWE snatched him up. Okay, make another one. All right. Maybe you can't make another one because, he's only one of one. Sure, you can't make another one. But there's somebody else out there. There's millions of people in Europe. There's millions of Russians and millions of Irish and Scottish wrestlers and stuff like that. You mean to tell me that you can't find another talented guy? Yes, WWE took 50 to 100 people for NXT UK. Most of them were not even tippy top of the British wrestling scene. Some of them were kind of in the middle. Some of them were kind of lower at the bottom. Some were just getting started. Some of them was pretty fucking young. Like Millie McKenzie, she was pretty young. Noam Dar was very young when WWE snatched him up too. But for Christ's sake, stop bitching about the NXT UK killed British wrestling. It's like, no, it didn't. Your virtue signaling killed British wrestling. The pandemic helped kill British wrestling. Your lack of support for these organizations, not buying the pay-per-views, instead, you're pirating them, killed British wrestling. You not watching it on the network means that the contracts are getting severed, apparently. And that's just a guess, and it's an educated guess on my part, that people not watching it is the reason why it's going to end up going away. So it has nothing to do with the performers who wanted a better life. And even if they wanted to take it on their shoulders to say, you know what, maybe we shouldn't have signed to WWE. Guess what? I would say you are a fucking fool. Whether you're Butch, whether you're Trent Seven, whatever. You signed to the company because you take bumps for a living. You want to get paid the most you possibly can for taking bumps for a living. You did nothing wrong. You did nothing to feel guilty about. You don't owe these motherfuckers nothing. You worked and they, liked your work. Hopefully they will like your work in WWE. If not, guess what? You'll get released. You'll go right back to where you were before, and all is good. All is well. You'll be right back in the pits where they want you. For some reason, they want you to stay there forever. I personally hate it. I hate that crap mentality that these British wrestling fans have about these wrestlers. It's awful, and it's embarrassing. But, a lot of American wrestling fans have the same thing, so I can't blame the Brits too much. All right. So we're going to close on an actual screwed up note. So Amari Miller, who is an NXT talent, she apparently attempted suicide the previous week. It was released on a TikTok video where it was kind of screwed up. Where it was like, when was the last time you tried to take your own life? And she like, 1 week. And it was like her dancing and stuff. I'm like, what the people do the weirdest TikTok videos. Either way, she put out a statement saying that she didn't she didn't put it out there for sympathy. She put it out there so that people would know that she can relate and that she can open up a conversation and basically lend an ear to people who are having mental health struggles. Amari Miller has been embroiled in some controversies the last couple of weeks. Last couple of years. First, it was the big Sasha Banks isn't black thing that got her a lot of heat with the Crew, who got her really upset at her. They've seemingly not tried to kick dirt on her since she tried to kill herself, which is great. Her most recent scandal wasn't even really her fault. It was basically she was wrapped up in the Quincy Elliott stuff. Quincy Elliott, for you guys who don't know, was basically being a gossipy bitch and, using burner accounts on Twitter to talk shit about various NXT talents that he worked with, like Cameron Grimes, and Amari Miller was one of them. And she was wrapped up in that as he was, trash talking her. There's screenshots out there. Not nothing that I think was major, but then again, I don't know to what extent what he was doing or the personal information he probably was giving out. But she's been having a tough time in NXT. She's been there for a little while. I think she was there during the pandemic era. She was signed, I think, during 2020. And she's made sporadic appearances on NXT since. She's mostly been on Level Up. She's, I think, a somewhat talented young lady. I haven't seen a lot of her stuff. She seemingly had a pure babyface persona. Of course, I think they turned her heel on Level Up recently, so we never really get to see what she can do there. But it's kind of sad, There's quite a few of these females, especially in pro wrestling, that it's mentally stressful, and they need to take a break. The young lady, AQA, who was once signed to NXT, she was released and then she went over to AEW. She retired because she felt like, the mental stress was too much. And this young lady was trained by Booker T, and she's only like 25. Amari Miller is around that same age. Like, they're constantly pushing themselves. They're constantly evaluated. Some would say they over-evaluated. But, their careers aren't moving as fast as they thought it would. Especially with Amari Miller and AQA, both of them. I don't know if Amari Miller was trained by Booker T, but I know AQA was. And she basically got sidelined by NXT. She got cut during one of the mass cuts eras. I'm talking about AQA now. And then she went to AEW, where she was basically gifted a contract to Ring of Honor, but she was never actually fucking used. I think she was used probably one time during the entire time she was under contract. So, you talk about people who are not really progressing, but they're they're doing their best, and things get hard for them. And who knows what kind of personal issues they might be having, you know? So it's been very difficult, and it's very sad to hear that a young lady almost, took her own life. Like, that's very, very important. I was glad to see the outpouring of support for her. And then the whole thing with Jay Briscoe happened. So that was awful too, because it went from we almost lost one to we definitely did lose one. So, anyway, thank you guys for your time. NXT was an okay show. I think like there's some good elements here, but they definitely need to go ahead and push through Vengeance Day, because I'm not really liking the matchups right now. So let's just go ahead and push through it and see what comes out on the other side. But thank you for your time. Like, share, subscribe. I will talk to you guys later. Peace out.